Crossplay ruined gaming forever, and there's no discussion anymore. I think a lot of people are getting to that conclusion, and as someone who really wanted crossplay when they were younger, and kind of seeing that come out and be just so bad for video games in general and multiplayer competitive games, it's kind of sad. Because you have hackers, cheaters, modders, poor updates I think all across the board because of just the different systems, a disparity between the players in terms of skill levels and stuff like that, and lobbies, matchmaking, whatever. And it's just, again, it's sad. And I think it's also really sad that there was no foresight by the developers to see any of this coming, and there were no systems in place. Because as a player, I kind of expect them to know these things. Expect them to get these things after so long of making video games. You should know these things are going to be issues, especially at the time of just seeing Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and just the PC community in general having just access to mods everywhere. What's the most insane to me is when Xbox 360 and PS3 were out, like, there were modders and hackers. Like, you would see them all the time, mainly on the Xbox 360, like, JTAG Xbox were, like, a huge thing. But on the Xbox One, the PS4, I never had an issue. I've never had an issue on those consoles, and it was amazing. The entirety of the time I played on those consoles. But now the PS5 and Xbox One are just insanely broken with games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, Battlefield. All these games are just broken because people are just cheating all the time. There's so many bad updates that are coming out because all these different systems are just, well, different. And so you have the developers like struggling to maintain each game all at the same time. Because I remember like back when Xbox 360, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, whatever, when updates were coming out, there were some updates that were delayed between each console, and whatever the console that was like the most important, you know, like, so if Xbox had Modern Warfare 2, or when they had like the Call of Duty, you know, brand or whatever underneath their umbrella, just because they had early access to whatever, the updates were better. The updates were quicker, and all the DLC was out quicker and stuff like that. But now everything is essentially under all the same umbrella, and now the developers are like trying to struggle to get everything out all at once, you know, and that's what they have to do. For the game to function now with crossplay, they don't have that time to patch each single thing. That's kind of, I think, the problem that we're experiencing with all these these poor updates, and when these updates are taking so long, is because the developers are struggling to get all of these updates under one game right now, because all of them are functioning under one system, one server. Which, I mean, I'm not a developer, so I'm just spitballing the idea. That's probably the best idea I have as to why it's taking so long. But I just remember a lot of these updates were kind of coming out per game. Like, they were per console, system, whatever. And it's just really sad. It's sad that I can barely log into a game anymore and not have fun, because I'm just expecting a cheater. I can't, and granted, it was like that in the 360, but the play on the PS4 and the Xbox One was just so much better. Back in those days, I didn't have to worry about that, but all of a sudden Fortnite comes out, which, I mean, I'm beginning to like Fortnite more and more because it just seems like somewhat of a better game, and I don't know if that's because they have an anti-cheat at this point, but it's also like, how do you not have an anti-cheat at this point? It's the year's 2022. I mean, hell, when all this was starting, it was like, what, 2019, 2020 or whatever, when we started doing crossplay? How the hell do you not have a friggin' anti-cheat? Battlefront 2 had an anti-cheat, I think, and that game came out in like 2005. I mean, Battlefront 2, 2005. And it's just crazy that a lot of these game developers never thought of this. How? How did you never think of this? But it's just like, I think a lot of people are getting worn out by video games, and just because of the fact that they can't play an actual multiplayer game without getting either scragged by someone who has just, like, the best rig in the world, or the game is full of cheaters, and they're just driving themselves insane. It does. It's really frustrating. Sometimes I get really frustrated playing in a match of Call of Duty. Like, the thing that is nice is you can turn off crossplay, and I feel like when you do turn off crossplay, it actually is a better overall experience. But not a lot of people are doing that, and I don't know if that affects everyone's matchmaking system. If like one person has crossplay turned off, that probably screws your entire matchmaking system up. If one person has crossplay on, you're probably gonna end up playing with all crossplay people, which is probably the majority of people who aren't turning crossplay off because they probably don't care. Don't get me wrong, I truly enjoy it to play with my friends on other consoles. Like, that is the very big perk of this, right? But the problem is just that there's no real good systems in place to fix any of this, and the developers are just at this point, like, yeah, you can release an anti-cheat, you can add patches to the game, but you guys are so far behind anyway, it doesn't really matter. Like, yeah, crossplay affects all of it, right? It affects the people that are playing crossplay, but it also affects the people that aren't playing crossplay. Because think about it, the game's also broken for them too. Like, at this point, you can't update the game for the people that are also having a bad experience on with crossplay off, which kind of sucks. You know, again, I really enjoy it because I can play with my friends, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter at all when the game barely functions, and that updates aren't quick and good enough to fix the game, because when you fix something, something else breaks. And then you have Joe Schmo who's modding or cheating in the game. Like the other day, I saw a video of Courage playing Fortnite, and there was a guy who was literally just flying in the air. It was incredible. And it's like, how is this a thing? How are we still in this? How are we still having a problem with the cheaters in these games? At this point, it's like there should be systems in place. You know, Battlefront 2 literally had an anti-cheat. I said it before. It had an anti-cheat. That game came out in 2005. How is it that... I mean, granted, I don't know how good that was, but it's like, how are you guys not able to develop an anti-cheat good enough to stop this, you know? I think we're too far gone. I think at this point we are too far gone. Even if you just disable crossplay across the board, you probably could, and it might fix the issues and make everything better for everybody. But I think back in the day, what made gaming so much easier was the fact that they could develop patches for each console only. But now they have to put every single patch out at once and fix everything at once. They can't do everything one at a time like they used to. But that's my little bitch of the day, is that I think crossplay really did hurt gaming. As great as it is to play with other people on other consoles, it was an absolute failure. And hopefully, maybe one day we can actually work this out so that way it's better. I mean, granted, it's only like the 3rd year into this or 4th year into this, so it could take time to really fix this. But I think this is going to be a long road ahead. So let me know what you think of crossplay gaming. Do you think it's good or bad for gaming? Do you actually have fun with it? Are you glad that you get to play with your friends? What are the other issues that I didn't mention that you have noticed? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like the video, like the video. If you like the video just enough, maybe hit the subscribe button or follow, whatever. All my links are below with Discord, Twitter, and Twitch. So feel free to join those. I would appreciate the interaction as always. And thanks for watching, and bye.